all of Solomon Islanders present, those parents and grandparents saved our nation as Coast Watchers, Scouts in the Solomon Islands, Labour Corps during those decisive days in World War history. Thank you. The relatives of our former overseas Coast Watchers are also with us today.
Imagine 75 years ago, we wouldn't be standing here, as this place would be considered a war zone. There will be warships just up Point Cruz, fighter planes hovering above, and petrifying sounds of bomb shells blasting just few miles away. What a frightening sound, time and place to be in. However, some brave souls determined to sacrifice their very lives to save the Pacific from the tyranny of neo-fascist regimes, whose leaders signed the Berlin Pact 3 years prior to World War II.
The Solomon Island Scouts and Coast Watchers served courageously as the eyes and ears for the force on the ground, on the sea, and in the air. They tirelessly monitored the enemy, providing valuable intelligence and warnings. Both Admiral Halsey and John F. Kennan have been quoted as to what they did to save and ensure victory here. Particularly to the young people that are here, that live in this land, those men did not have to do what they did. They had a choice. They did this at great risk. And just like we all in our lives have a choice to follow the path that is the right path. And to their credit, they chose that path. And to our credit, we were smart enough to listen to them because they probably saved us. But we still have those same choices. We still have the same choices. Freedom, opportunity, dignity for each other, respect, opportunities to be successful in our lives. And we can look back at our history and our heritage to see those that made those choices before and be proud of their courage and determination.
As we commemorate the 75th anniversary of the battles of Guadalcanal and Tulagi, it is fitting that we acknowledge the critical role that the Scouts and Coast Watchers played in those battles. The Coast Watchers came from all walks of life: district officers and other government officials, planters, prospectors and missionaries. They had no distinguishing badge or insignia and were known only as Coast Watchers. Their principal role was to gather operational intelligence and to report the movements, strength and activities of Japanese forces. But the Coast Watchers would have been unable to do their job without the Solomon Island Scouts. C.W. Seaton, a Coast Watcher in the Solomon Islands, wrote in his report that, "For the Scouts under my command, I have nothing but the highest praise. They performed repeatedly acts of courage under hardship and danger. Without them, our chances would have been very small." These Scouts and Coast Watchers we honour today knew that they placed their lives on the line by their actions behind enemy lines and by reporting what they saw. No Solomon Islander ever betrayed the location of a Coast Watcher. They were faithful even in the face of death. Coast Watcher Alexander Waddell wrote that while Admiral Halsey said the Coast Watchers saved Guadalcanal and Guadalcanal saved the Pacific, he could well have added, the Solomon Islanders saved the Coast Watchers.
After fighting on Guadalcanal subsided, George Boardman departed to Australia on rest and recuperation leave in November in 1942. While staying with a host family in Ballarat, Victoria, Australia, he presented his Bible to them.
My grandmother Janet passed it to me when I was 8, a pocket edition of the New Testament, issued to all troops with a foreword by President Franklin D. Roosevelt. It was given to her by George Wadman prior to leaving Ballarat for the Pacific Theatre. Shows evidence of the sweat and grime of being carried in battle in the breast pocket. Just to experience the emotion that the Marine Corps felt towards this sort of memento, this thing that they consider pretty well a sacred object. It's been absolutely wonderful. I will never forget it.
Today we recognise these people who have given service to Australia and who truly do deserve our thanks, lest we forget.